We all know that real estate is super expensive. It's not one of the cheapest things in the world. And if you look at real estate right now, there's some pretty unique trends that everyone really needs to know. We're getting a lot of construction companies, they're going crazy. In fact, people who want to rent, people who want to buy a home recently are finding some pretty good deals because construction just went bonkers. And by the way, with a potential interest rate cut next year, we could be seeing even more developers making units like crazy. So look at this. Rents are expected to drop in several US cities as markets are nearing the oversupply area. And this is reported by several real estate agencies. The report predicts that rent prices will keep softening at least through the first half of 2024. If you look at Zoomper, they've already analyzed over 100 cities in the US, which 55 have seen rent prices drop since the last year, and an additional 17 have not changed rental prices, which pretty much means that they're not going up in price. So you're already seeing this, right? Places, Phoenix, Austin, Orlando, all super popular areas, even Miami, have seen one-bedroom rents drop between 5 and 11%. These are humongous numbers. These are not small numbers by any means. And if you look at what Zoomper is saying, is the increase in supply as well as overbuilding of apartment buildings and complexes are keeping rental prices low. If you go to several cities in the US, you're going to be noticing rental concessions. Go to San Francisco, go to Oakland, go to LA, go to Salt Lake City, and you will notice a big trend, which is sometimes almost half of all the landlords there offer some sort of concession for a lot of their items. For example, if you want to rent a one bedroom in Salt Lake City, Utah, chances are you get a month of free rent. It's actually pretty nice, right? Sure, some cities are refusing to lower the rent, but they're offering insanely good concessions like free parking, or they give you a whole stack of Starbucks gift cards. It's always these little things that really makes it a lot more worth it as a renter. And it's happening in many cities. It's more just in a few cities. And then you also have the Texas situation here. Now, Texas is building homes like there's no tomorrow. If you literally just go on Zillow and check out what's going on in Austin, they're like almost half their listings are new construction, which isn't normal. Like new construction in general shouldn't go above 15%, but it's almost half. And you can see that tens of thousands of new apartments will rise between Austin and San Antonio. Look at this. Every single one of these little Google dots are going to be a brand new apartment complex, and they're making a bunch of these. Now, will anyone rent them? Yes. Now, what about the price? Well, it's going to be super low. And if you look at this, there's a whole lot of housing plan for the I-35 corridor between the two cities. Includes a bunch of apartments, and we're not really sure if there's any units for sale, but a lot of landlords are wanting to build these apartments for rent. Now, what I don't get is Austin is already experiencing one of the biggest and sharpest rent prices and housing price declines. If you just go on Zillow and you just check out some of the Austin real estate, you kind of get the idea. It's not exactly the best, considering that Austin real estate is pretty much overbuilt. So many homes are being built to the point that there's not even enough buyers. Like at this point, if this trend continues, more new construction homes for sale and rent than used home and other items and other apartments. It really doesn't make any sense to see this much property being built in the Texas area, especially Austin. Now they're thinking about making this whole entire plan of new apartments, thousands of them between the two cities on the interstate. I guess it's pretty nice, especially people like to commute to work from the suburbs, but don't you think this is a little bit too much overbuilding? But it's great for people like you and me who need to buy homes or rent homes. This is fantastic. You can actually cop some of these apartments, rent them, buy them, whatever, for a much cheaper price than before. And like I said, a lot of these properties, you're going to have to bank on the fact that developers are going to have to go crazy. Never before have developers went this crazy on building, and finally we are here. People complain about real estate prices going up, rent prices going up. Well, if there's overbuilding and they're building a bunch of supply, a bunch of these properties, guess what? Prices will go down. It's as simple as that. And it's getting so bad in Oakland's Brooklyn Basin that builders have to pause apartment projects. Oakland's Brooklyn Basin is a pretty decent place. It's right next to the water. You can see yachts parked right in front of you. It's decent, right? It's next to an interstate as well. And Oakland experienced a massive rental decline. In fact, the rental decline is so bad, which is like almost 8% in just the past few months. builders had to stop building because they're literally killing their own prices. So developers in Brooklyn Basin, they made a bunch of these units, right? They look fantastic, good looking units, but there's not that many tech workers anymore. Like, if you guys don't know what's happening in the Bay Area, a lot of tech is leaving the area. Many people who used to work in the Bay Area are leaving for other cities. Companies who used to have huge offices have downsized or closed in general, and it's just not a great place anymore. Oakland's Brooklyn Basin, they were planning out a whole skew of apartment complexes, and they've only built half the land. The other half is still being developed. They still make the foundations. Builders are like, we got to stop this because they're literally killing their own rental prices. Because, like, at first, they thought one bedrooms could rent out for like $3,000. Well, not anymore when there's this much building. And then you also have the whole Blackstone mortgage trust fiasco. This is a big deal as well on Wall Street. Muddy Waters is one of the biggest and most infamous short sellers in the American exchange, and they are now short on the Blackstone mortgage trust. It's a big deal because Blackstone mortgage trust is one of the biggest mortgage trust REITs in the US and maybe even around the world. It's a big deal when you have Muddy Waters shorting something of this size and caliber. And what they're saying is a lot of landlords who own big buildings like apartments, office buildings, probably can't pay themselves back because there's not that many renters. You guys don't know what's going on. There's too much building, too much offices that are vacant. And you probably have already seen so many of these apartment examples where builders had to stop because rent prices just keep going down. And Zooper even is like, rent prices will just keep softening. And Muddy Waters is like, hold on a second. If even the European property sector is taking huge hits, the American sector really isn't that behind. They're even saying that we could be seeing a massive rent cut next year and also a big dividend cut for Blackstone Mortgage Trust next year, the first half, maybe like the summertime. It could be like, cutting out the rates and rents, whatever it is, and cutting dividends, which would be pretty big. So if you ask me, Muddy Waters is kind of onto something. But let's see what's going on in the future. So far, real estate just isn't that great. Everything is truly becoming cheaper. I get it. Some of you guys feel like rent is still expensive. Like, give it some time, right? Give it a few more months, and I'm sure your city will be cutting rents. My city, we're experiencing a 5 to 7% correction in terms of housing prices for once. And houses are still pretty expensive compared to a few years ago, but at least they're cooling off. So that's like the only good thing about it. So thanks for watching, guys. Comment below and make sure you guys check out the private Discord server, guys. Patreon link below for some amazing trades. We have a 7-day free trial, and all of our traders are fantastic. We trade live on a daily basis. We're making a bunch of money. Even I follow these trades because these trades actually make money. Like our most recent trade was like the Lululemon one. We bought it for like $1,700, sold it for almost $2,500 per contract. So just join in. It's a great option server. It's super easy to follow, and we even have video tutorials to help, which I personally just made. So check us out, and it's a free trial.